In yesterday's video, I told you that I didn't want to talk to you about the kit because I hadn't seen it. I didn't want to discuss something based on somebody else's description. So now I've seen the new kit and I don't want to talk to you about it. It's claret, it's blue, it's not as nice as that. You can buy it now for lots of money, or you can buy it in a year's time for 15 quid, like I bought that one. I'm going to talk to you today about, I think I've probably entitled the video slightly inaccurately by the Moyes Revolution, but maybe the evolution of the football team under David Moyes, or lack of, should I say. Before I do, it's been the anniversary of West Ham on Monday, yesterday, as you're watching this, and look, I could say a lot of things. At the end of this video, I'm going to click a link to a video made by Nigel Calm. And he's done a 10-minute video. I've learned an awful lot about it. The history of West Ham, basically. There's no better time to watch it because it is the anniversary. And it's about where the... Basically, you think you know about West Ham, you'll learn something in this video. If you already know, you'll enjoy it anyway. But it's really good. Please go and give it a watch. And I want to thank Nigel for doing it as well, because he knows far more about it. He really knows everything about West Ham. I don't mean he knows West Ham in terms of, he knows the left backs that he's seen play or something like that. He literally knows the history of West Ham. I do think it's very, very important, particularly at a time when we've probably lost an awful lot of our identity due to the move. Right. Got a comment on yesterday's video, which was, or was it the day before? Anyway, it doesn't matter. It was basically about David Moyes not being able to put his stamp on the team. The comment, and I do apologise for not putting it up. I've been a bit rushed today, so apologies for whoever made the comment. But it was very much, don't forget, these are not Moyes' players by and large. They're Pellegrini's players, and in some cases Bilic's. He's yet to put his stamp on the team. And I think it was very much indicating that Moyes was managing with one arm tied behind his back. He wasn't doing the job with tools from his tool bag, so to speak. And I thought, okay, fair enough. And then it started making me think, what would Moyes change? What would he do? And I don't think there was an awful lot. I couldn't, as I was going through the players in my mind of who he'd like to bring in, I couldn't see him jettisoning a lot of the players. I don't look at Moyes and see that there's a manager completely dissatisfied with what he's got to work with. Now, some of that will be because he's got some good players, yes. But I also think a lot of people looking at it thinking, get him out, get him out, get him out. 5 or 6 players who they get out. I'm not entirely sure David Moyes would agree with that. So I thought I'd have a little look at the players individually, because it's easy to assume, and you've got to play a little game here to do this. You've got to play along, which is we stay up. I guess you can play the game if we go down, but it changes the nature of the game somewhat and the players that we would bring in and we would let go. So let's just imagine that we fluke our way and remain in the Premier League. Who does he get rid of? Forget again for a moment that money's tight, because money is tight because of the old coronavirus and all the rest of it. Because transfers would still be made. There would still be a way. They might be loan signings, they might be League One players, or whatever the case may be. You're not signing anyone from Real Madrid. Yeah, we get it. But we might be able to sign somebody from, I was going to say Accrington Stanley. I don't know why they popped into my head. But you get what I mean. If a manager's dissatisfied by what he's got at his disposal, then he'll roll the dice and he'll get somebody else in. So, do I think he would jettison Fabianski? No, I don't. And that I would totally understand anyway. Fabianski's a good keeper. Bearing in mind, we are skint and there's probably quite a lot of the errors of the pitch that need addressing. Why would you go and fork out a lot of money on a goalkeeper when, actually you probably do for another year or two? I would hope so, at least. Right back. Now, right back is clearly an area where David Moyes would want to do some work. We know this is clear. He's not really been settled on Zabaleta. You can clearly see that he's not too keen on Fredericks, and you've only got to look at the whole Ngakia situation and the players that have been linked with, be it Montiel and Matty Cash from Nottingham Forest, who he knew he wanted, to show that he wants a right back. We get that. Would he overhaul the centre-half position? No, I don't think so. I could see him looking to get rid of Balbuena. I think that much is clear. But you're not looking at a first-choice centre-back coming in at that point. He'll go and get a cheapo one. He'll go and get somebody, he says the Red Bull model, but don't rule out him getting, I don't know if he's even still playing, but the equivalent of Phil Jagielka in or something like that, you know. So I could see that happening. Left back, yes, I think it's quite clear that Moyes would like a left back, but also don't rule out that actually Moyes would see very much, if he stayed at West Ham's future, as being with 3 at the back. I do think he would then mould the team in his image. And that is what I think he would do. Rather than being a massive problem with personnel, I think him putting his stamp on it would be more a formation switch. But anyway, so the fullback, I think, yes, would he, let's say we play 4 at the back, would he bring a left back in? Yes. Now, somewhere where I think we really struggle with central midfield, as you know, I don't think Moyes shares my view on that. Why should he? I'm a plumber. He's a football manager. He clearly knows more about such things than I do. But it's one area I would address. I would stick an athlete in there. I think it's really, really important to get a box-to-box player. Someone that can cover the miles and do it quickly as well. We see the stats. Fornals covers a lot of miles. Souček covers a lot of miles, yes, but I want you to do it quickly. I want a road runner in there. But I don't think that Moyes sees anything too wrong with a midfield of Rice, fantastic player, of course, Souček and Mark Noble. I do. The very fact that he's so reluctant to make that change in a game shows that he likes it. He's comfortable with it. I just find it hard to imagine that David Moyes is spending his long summer nights poring over dossiers. We ain't got any dossiers, we ain't any scouting, but imaginary dossiers of central midfielders. I don't think he thinks it's a problem. If he did think it's a problem, Noble would have been off, Wilshere would have been on, Noble would have been off, Lanzini, just something else happens. I don't think so. So at the moment, I think we're just looking at fullbacks, quite frankly. Get into some wide positions. Wide right, or inside right, or whatever the formation may turn out to be, if it's a 4-3-3. Right of a 3, it's Bowen. He's going to play Bowen there. He's already got his guy there. Left of the 3, well, I think the way things are going, and if we keep looking at it the way it is, Felipe Anderson's going to be out, right? I think there's not much future for him at West Ham if he keeps on putting in the performances that he is. Even if he did try, if he just continues not to make an impact on the game, that's enough. You've got to impact it. You've got to get some assists. You've got to get some goals. He's not doing that. So what do I think would happen? Well, it's easy to think that Diangana comes straight back in and Moyes puts him in on the left. I don't think he would. I think Moyes straight away would just put Mikel Antonio in there at left wing. And then it brings you to the striker. Now, striker is an area where I think Moyes would do something. Look, he's reluctant to bring a Jetty on. He's reluctant to bring Silva on. But he clearly knows we need a striker. It's easy to look at Moyes as outdated tactically and this, that and the other, but he's worked in football all his life. He's going to know we need a striker. The question is whether he would bring one in at the expense of Sebastian Haller. Not whether he brings one in, because he will. Even if Sebastian Haller stays, he'll still go and try and bring in another striker more to his liking. Somebody that, and don't laugh, that he's willing to bring on off the bench. Somebody that when Sebastian Haller is injured, which happens as we're starting to see, it's not like Haller's been just available all the time, is it? Since he's signed, he's had a couple of periods out. So I think he brings in a striker. But the way he was talking about Sebastian Haller as a £50 million Bundesliga striker, as he called him, during the week, you're not getting, well, we didn't pay 50 million for him anyway, but we wouldn't get the 40 million back. Would we get 30? We might. I don't know. Would Moyes see that as tempting to generate some funds? Because I don't think he'll be tempted to do it with Declan Rice. I'm not so sure. So whilst I do think he'll bring in a striker, I don't think it'll necessarily be as a threat to Sebastian Haller. I just think, looking at it, do not rule out our front three next season being Bowen, Antonio and Haller if we stay up. Do not rule out the component parts of the midfield being roughly the same. Yes, I know Declan Rice could be sold, but imagine he's not for a moment. Imagine he's just got that choice. I could honestly see a situation where the only two positions that are changed are the two fullback positions. And yes, it's supposition and it's guesswork and we're looking forward and none of it might happen at all. But I'm just basing on what I see, which is we could well stay up this season, stay in the Premier League, and then find ourselves next season with a Groundhog Day. Because why? Because the team might not be vastly different.
You know I'm hitting hardest when it comes to rhyming. You know I'm hitting hardest.